choice in terms of things. You could take the Viktor if you want to max Corki now, and it keeps your third pick open. But I guess we'll see how they go.
See what they want to do here, giving a nod to the old Azir Corki metas that we had all those long ago. Now it's Azir, sorry, it's not Azir Corki, it's a Corki Viktor that we generally see. It looks like they're going to lock that one in, so now they can look to kind of get their support in here. Honestly, I would be very surprised if we do not see the Thresh here. It is something that, you know, Ming has been able to play, and it is also something that, you know, when working with Gala, just does so much for him.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan, honestly, of taking the Lee Sin here, just because RNG could take... I mean, they've been pretty happy with the Jarvan, right? They can take the Jarvan again, which is very good into Viktor, because Viktor's obviously immobile. And then they can take the Thresh to eliminate that way out of it. But we'll see what RNG up to do in this situation. Obviously, they did prioritize the Aphelios pretty heavily. They could opt to just ignore the Jarvan in general and go Aphelios Thresh. That would be pretty positive, because again, you know, I think you have to kind of use your Gale Force aggressively when you're playing against comps where you have a range disadvantage as Aphelios. But the fact he didn't have something like a Thresh to yank him out afterwards was where the problem was. If you take a Thresh here, it really thins down those opportunities. So I'm personally a big fan of picking up here. I think in terms of jungle, yes, you're going to go down the totem pole a little bit, but, you know, it happens.
It does happen, but they're not going to go that way. They're going to lock in the Aphelios and the Viego. So now, do you lock in your AD carry here if you're JDG, or do you look to try and maybe get your support, then lock away some of the other supports? There's a lot of different options available here for JDG, should they decide to, you know, go whichever route, whichever way they think is going to be most successful.
Yeah, it's tricky because, you know, things like Jinx and Jhin, really good. You'd love to have them, and, you know, you can have a Thresh with them, but the problem is you only pick one, right? And so they're going to have to leave the Thresh available. I would expect it to be banned in the second rotation. But both teams have picked up their jungler, both teams picked up their mid, both teams picked up their AD carries. Obviously, JDG, they can obviously pick up an they get first choice. So if they ban too heavily one role, like let's say JDG ban 2 supports, RNG ban 2 supports, JDG gets their first pick of the pool. But for now, they will ban away that Jace that we saw bin on last game.
Didn't have the biggest of impacts on it, I will say myself, but they don't want to have it. They don't want it to have the big impact they think it might have, so they ban it away, take it off of his hands. It is one of the bin's most tried and tested champions. He's very comfortable on that. Now, where do you go if you're RNG? Where do you look to try and get one? Do you get rid of the Thresh? Do you look to try and maybe ban away the supports yourself? There's a lot of different available here, but no, they're going to go towards that top side. So the supports are kind of being left open here to say, look, we don't believe that either of these guys are exceptional on the Thresh particular carry. We feel like they're going to pick something else anyway, so we don't need to prioritize it.
I feel like you should ban... I mean, Jhin isn't as synergistic with Thresh as like Jinx or Aphelios are. Those two tend to like sync better.
There it is.
And JDG opt to ban the Thresh away, which makes a lot of sense. I feel like JDG probably going to grab the Leona on their first ban coming through, on the first pick coming through, sorry. So maybe RNG could opt to ban the Leona if they wanted to. They could opt to take away the Jax. Bear in mind, Camille and Gwen are open and available, which weren't last time. Being very comfortable in those. They will opt to go for that Gwen ban. So I expect Leona here from JDG with Thresh off the cards. I think you're pretty comfortable in pretty much every matchup. And then you can leave your top lane counter pick till a little bit later.
Let's see what they want to go for. Gwen has been taken off the board there by RNG, so it's now on JDG. You would imagine, yep, they'll go with the Leona here. It's a pretty standard setup. We might see a Nautilus back into that bot side, but we'll wait and see what RNG want to do. So where do you want to bring your top lane now if you're RNG? Where do you want to see them, you know, take a style into this next game?
Well, I was going to say, I think either top or support, I feel like you want to have something that's a bit more reliable in terms of engage, right? You don't have the Jarvan you had before. Nautilus is going to pin it down a single target, but just Nautilus isn't really enough. Because again, you have an Aphelios, he wants people to be in range of him. So I like the fact they've gone for this Gragas and they've gone for this Nautilus. It means you have two champions who can help people get in range. Once they're in range, Aphelios, Corki can shred them, and that's when the Viego can get the resets. But it does mean that obviously we can have 369 teeing up for a potential counter pick. It looks like he might end up leaning towards the Gangplank I was talking about a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
and he is actually going to lock it in. So Gangplank doing pretty well at the moment. We haven't seen it pick too much in the LPL, but essentially he did get a buff on the last patch we are playing on now, 12.1. His Q is a shorter cooldown and lower mana cost, and any buff, there's only a minor one, but any buff to his Q is such a massive difference maker. It was done because they changed Grasp of the Undying so it doesn't proc off your Q. They give him a bit of a power. But the big thing is, right, if you're making bot lane plays, you don't have to worry about TP anymore, but Gangplank ult is a definite threat So it allows JDG, if they want to lean heavily towards bot side, they have a Gangplank ult to help them do so. Damage here. They have a lot of elements that will hold up well in the game, but the trade-off is I have a bit less early agency, right? When it comes to team fights, they should feel confident. That's not to say that JDG are slouches in team fights, but early game, I think JDG has the advantage, and I want to see what they can do with that and how much momentum they can garner.
At that early stages as well, we didn't really see much action out of either of these squads in either of the games, and we'll see if anything changes. Right now, it is just an invade coming in from RNG. Get down a ward down onto the red buff, so they'll know exactly where Kanavi has been starting. He has basically started top side or top half of the jungle almost exclusively the entire time. They will see that the invade came in as well, so they know that that vision's gone down into their own red buff, and it's all about the vision that you know they have and they know you know, so you need to know that you know they know.
Exactly. Couldn't have put it better. Couldn't have put it better. I think that's something we saw from RNG that was so instrumental in their first two games at getting early advantages, was the fact that they were very proactive at sweeping out vision, getting wards down, and making sure that Wei had an information advantage. And now it's not really going to be that situation, right? He's being spotted on this ward. It is going to get cleared out now, but they know he's starting the red buff. They have that extra info.
Yeah, they know that Lee Sin started on the bot side as well, so Kanavi starting bot to path towards his top side, so won't know roughly where he is. They will know roughly where he is. They won't have an exact measure on it just yet. So you see this top side. And speak to me why we see the Gragas being taken so much. We see it as a kind of it's a tank, but you can go full AP. What does it do, and why is it so good at doing it?
Yeah, so I think, you know, you can go AP because as much as you can, like, the tankier route works, the thing with AP Gragas is he holds up quite well because a lot of melee champions, he just body slams them, does a quick trade with a lot of burst, and then backs away, right? A lot of champions who are like these, you know, like Gragas, you'd think that he needs to go tanky, survive lane, but he has so much sustain in his kit, and he has such frustrating trading patterns, and critically, a lot of wave clear on his barrels, that he's quite stable, right, in the top lane. You're gonna pick him and he should be okay in most situations. He's also hard to die with all the CC. And then comes later in the game, and because you've gone AP, if you choose to, you have these massively impactful casts that can just do a ton of damage while disrupting the fight. If you end up going a more tankier build, then, you know, you still serve as a brick wall with a lot of CC. He's just very versatile and does well into a pretty solid range of matchups.
Right now, he's being pushed in as expected. Gangplank with those barrels does have a fairly decent wave clear setup, as we can see Kanavi on the mini map pathing up alongside Viego. So both junglers will be on the top half of the map as they both look for Scuttle. It is a slight tempo advantage for Lee Sin, as you can see him already moving in, trying to see if he can catch somebody out. He will have his no smite available. Neither jungler will, but he doesn't want the camp. He just wants the fight. He's going to be able to use a little bit of his move momentum to try and keep this one in his favor. It will be the Viego though who takes it, and that's a level 4 there. So the Kanavi needs to be a bit careful with the next time he goes for that invade. He does have priority mid, so should be able to get out of this one just fine. But as I say that, Viktor is here. Everyone's just kind of backing away. A lot of posturing around this dragon, around this Scuttle, and neither side willing to give it up. Actually, bot lane's roaming up.
Yeah, JDG are recommitting to this one. Kind of don't expect to see this when Scuttle's dropped in sort of priority so much, but because they force him out, they might actually be able to grab this Scuttle and make their way to the bot one and get level 4 for Kanavi off that. By the way, a lot of moves from JDG to sort that one out. You saw the Sonic Wave land, but this is another strength of the Gragas, is that he's good at disrupting Lee Sin, right? Lee Sin flies in, you body slam him, you block it.
We'll see now wards being swept out. RNG just trying their best to get these Scuttles going for themselves, but it is JDG who picked the 2 of them up, and 2 Scuttles for JDG. You'll take that advantage. It's an extra 100, 200 gold in your bank pocket.
Cash in the bank, you'll take it. You know, things pan out kind of the way you'd expect, nothing going too heavily in either side's favor. We have seen the Aftershock Leona once again, so still looking for that tankiness to help deal with the Nautilus. And it is the Grasp of Undying Gangplank. Just to be clear, when I said it doesn't proc on the parlay, it does proc, it just counts the range attack, so it's 40% weaker, which is why he took a bit of a nerf to the amount of harass he can do, because before you stack it up on the wave and then you parlay and get the equivalent of a melee Grasp of the Undying hit, which is a lot stronger. Whereas now you can still do that, it just doesn't have quite as much damage, which is why they gave him the buffs.
Well, KDG happy enough with that start. They're able to freeze up top side as well, so not so much of a freeze, just got a crash. KDG 369 taking up almost all of these minions, so shouldn't have too much of a problem there. Has got the Sheen available to him as well. We wait to see where this next kind of big fight is going to back out. We do see the Swifty boots here for LPC. It is the Berserker Greaves for Gala. So both these AD carries recognizing that they're probably going to be needing the extra little bit of move speed and get themselves in and out of trouble should they get caught out.
Yeah, definitely valuable as well for avoiding potential engages. But, you know, it's kind of expected, right? We'd have a slower game in this one because RNG were really the big instigators in that game 1. They haven't got as many tools to do so. And in that game 2, JDG specifically targeted Xiaohu on the Twisted Fate. On a Corki, much harder to do so, right? He has a Valkyrie available to dash away. I think things will start to come online when we see level 6s get hit, particularly by the 369, which is just come in there. You can see thanks to the graphic. So now you can see the wave is pushing in favor of RNG. They also have the Infernum, which is basically forcing the wave to go forwards whenever it auto attacks. So 369 has the ultimate available. If they do overextend, they can use it to really cause issues for them.
Make issues, like you said. Dragon is going to be spawning and taken, you'd imagine, here by JDG. They haven't spotted out the war just yet. They are pinging it down. Gangplank on the roam, though, so they will have 5 members of JDG at this Dragon versus the potential 4 of RNG, and RNG will get nothing back from it. They will just accept the fact that they needed to go back. They needed to get themselves into certain item spikes, and they will just give up that first strike.
And it's beautiful moves, right? 369 goes down, he goes mid, he's there to defend the wave. He doesn't actually push it in because there's no need to. He's just leaving it there for Yagao, but it means that RNG can't get anything mid lane. Because the waves push top, they can't get anything top. And it now means that there's a potential 5 members of Dragon and the Cannon Barrage. There's no way ever RNG can contest that Dragon. And because of the Cannon Barrage threat and Kanavi moving down, it meant bot lane was able to get prio as well. And RNG's bot lane had to give it up. So they did everything they needed to tick all the boxes to get that one going. And now they're looking for the engage.
Yeah, they're going to get the Gangplank ult coming out now as well. The Dredge Line should be enough. He did use the cleanse here from the Aphelios. Has got himself the Gravitum, so just keeping everyone at, arm's length. Here comes Kanavi. Does he want the Ming or does he want the Gala? I don't know. He actually, choice paralysis, didn't get either of them, and now he's in a lot of trouble. He couldn't decide. Did he want to go left? Did he want to go right? And now the rest of his team are suffering for the consequences, forcing the flash there out of Jhin. He's actually still being chased down. He will almost certainly still fall down short. The Viego using Kanavi against his own team. That was just unfortunate from JDG.
A big overextension, right? You got them chunked out. You should be able to get some plate damage. You should be able to get some waves denied. And potentially, if you waited long enough, maybe level 6 for the Jhin can come in and then you can capitalize on that to get a kill. But instead, we see just Kanavi going over aggressive, going for the tower dive. And the thing is, the minion wave was in the way. That's why he couldn't pick anyone. And we'll get a replay of that. So, like, the minion wave's in the way, so he can't hit the Nautilus. He knows that Aphelios has flash. If he tries to Sonic Wave him, he's just going to end up going down. He sees Wei come in and he's like, well, I have to turn away, there's no option. But he gets clapped on instantly. The bot lane can't do anything to help, and then the turnaround comes in. It's such a powerful position to be in as a Viego. He's so good in these skirmishes, and when you steal a Lee Sin, it's like, you have one of the best skirmishing junglers possessing one of the best skirmishing junglers.
And the fact that he got the Q off and was able to go forward with it even as he was losing the procession, it was just very nicely done there by Wei. We talked about how important this jungle composition, or how this jungle role is for both of these sides. We talked about how Kanavi and Wei are the big people to look out for, and right now it's Wei coming out trumps in this game. Looks like they're going to maybe try and make something work on top side. There is going to be Ming with the Nautilus hook, and he's going to have a lot of fun trying to get on top of this Gangplank. He forces the flash away. He does have an orange, but he's not going to be okay. He's going to fall down. No real way for him to survive. Gala gets himself a kill, and this is RNG starting to pick up the pace.
They're finding the momentum, and the thing is, with you saw him trying to hold his flash for as long as possible, but he knew Nautilus was about to get into auto range, so he flashes, and then it's no surprise. The Dredge Line comes out, gets connected on, and now they're going to be able to translate this into the top tower. Getting it in the right amount of HP, it's just going to finish it off. It's going to be a massive influx of gold. And for the Aphelios and Viego, you can't hope for anyone better. RNG once again putting pedal to the metal, but this time their composition scales really well, so all going in a positive direction for them.
Even get the second charge from Shelly, so that brings that tower down to half HP. Should they even get an opportunity to take it? As I say that, flash forward, gets the Xenoblade into the solar flare, but the Sonic Wave misses. And now I feel like it's going to be a pretty easy way for the, for Wei to try and maybe just skirmish this. As I say that, there's no support. I didn't look at the minimap. I thought there was going to be a mid laner roaming in. There was not. They will end up picking up that kill. So JDG finally fighting back.
Yeah, they answer back, and it's just a little bit overzealous coming out from Wei. Bit disrespectful. And now JDG going to be able to capitalize, steal away some jungle camps. They're still going to be down in gold, but it's something at least, right?
It is something, and that's all they need for to get themselves back into this game. You can see Ming just trying to hold the wave as long as he possibly can. We get a look at the replay here, and this is just missing, saying, look, we need to do something. I need to make something. He actually even gets the steal with the Xenoblade, so nicely done by him.
Yep, gets everything he needs and more from that one. And obviously Sonic Wave missed at the start, but that's the thing with Leona. One of the reasons she's so good as well in skirmishes is the short cooldown of her Q. 5 seconds baseline, back up very quickly as long as you can stay in range of the target.
Comes out, does a lot of damage to LPCs, down to about a third. Nearly just came back to the lane.
That sets them up to potentially look for something here. Cannon Barrage is available and Kanavi is in the wing, so I don't think RNG can really go for play. Plus, now they will see the Viego there.
Cannon Barrage comes in. The kick is not good enough, though. Missing is dead, and we'll get the resets. This is the CC you need. You know you can take down this Lee Sin. It's a 2-for-1 trade. Yes, you had the Gangplank ult coming down, raining Hellfire upon this bot side, but it's just not quite there. He hasn't got a full item yet.
And more might be coming out from this one. Wei is looking.
Wei is looking, and Wei has got him. There's no way LPC can move away from this one here. He's going to get caught out. He's going to get taken down, even waste the heal. Honestly, I feel like it's a bit of a waste of a summoner. There's no real need to kind of go for that. And that's going to be more free time for this Aphelios. Gala getting all these free plates. It's starting to feel a lot like Game 1, Ox. This is starting to snowball out of control right now for JDG.
And the thing is, you have a fed Viego as well, who's just so frustrating to deal with, and he has pretty good options to steal from him. Particularly Leona is so good because you steal Leona, you do your combo, you pop your W, and then it actually carries over when you go back to a normal form. The resistances stay, so it's really difficult to deal with because you just make Viego even tankier. Now, we'll get the replay, and we're actually going to get the pro view coming in. So we see that initially Leona a little bit caught out, and then it's actually an attempt at a kick coming in here, but it's the channel comes in to switch to Leona. It's the stopwatch that buys time, and then because we see Wei go into Leona, it becomes so tanky the kick does basically nothing.
Yep, doesn't do a lot. Using the Heartbreaker just to make more hell. You can see it just keeps pushing down LPC. That is all she really wrote. I feel like you're gonna die anyway. The heal is going to do nothing. I don't really agree with using that somewhere there, but you live, you learn. You get to come out and you look that throughout the review. But now you've got a 30 CS lead for the Aphelios. You have several kills onto the big item carries, and you know what the funny thing is? Xiaohu hasn't even been a part of any of this. Xiaohu is 0-0-0. He's just farming up in mid lane, just keeping Yagao like basically occupied while this all happens, and he's still gonna be a monster in the late game.
He's just vibing right now, honestly.
Straight vibe.
And that's the thing is you'll have the package for team fights when it comes to contesting with dragons. It is the Hex Tech Soul, which isn't as strong as the Chem Tech, but is another one that is getting nerfed next patch. The 2 new Dragon Souls are getting nerfed because they are just a little bit too strong. And I think Chem Tech, particularly with this composition, the AoE slow can be really difficult to deal with.
Yeah, the Hex Tech coming in was going to do so much. That little mini slow you get just to try and get away from the likes of a Gragas or get away from a Viego just makes that a little bit harder. And remember, it doesn't just proc on auto attacks or procs on abilities as well. So you can see now, what's LPC supposed to do? Like, where is he supposed to go? He cannot walk up to this. He has only got flash. Nope. He has no heal. The TP's going to be coming in. That's going to be the Gangplank joining in here. But that's a TP, literally, I'd say it was just a conversation in comms of like, this tower's dead. I can't do anything.
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't really that useful. I feel like they didn't have the Cannon Barrage quite available. That is the sort of situation where you throw the Cannon Barrage down. But either way, they end up keeping in. I guess Gangplank TP isn't that valuable, but still not an ideal scenario. Another thing, because it's the Hex Tech Soul, we get the Hex Gates, my favorite thing to come from preseason. They're really fun and enjoyable. But also, when we look at the fact that there's a fed Viego, him getting on a flank, the Gragas getting on a flank, it makes it very, very difficult to approach. Obviously, they just give extra tools to navigate and get in deeper into the enemy team. If you do approach a Baron and get into the river, they can obviously just circumvent the entire river and end up behind you. So can't wait to see them getting up to all sorts of fun and tricks with those.
I just imagine when you said like the hex gates and stuff, it's like, you know, Ken Brown in the fog, and everyone hates. It's just like, you know, like looking at, like he hits with his girlfriend, he looks back to see the other one. It's like hex gates. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no one likes stealth in League of Legends. Let's be real. No one enjoys playing against stealth. But the thing is, the hex gates are balanced because, you know, yes, they allow you to transit, but it's also telegraphed. It's also slow. You have like a channel before and after. There's counterplay, right? If you teleport to the other end and they're waiting for you, you're dead. If you teleport and they're not ready, then, you know, you end up getting a really cool flank off. And flanking's cool, right? Flanking is a fun and enjoyable thing.
Sorry, just the way you said it was real kind of like, you know, when someone's just like, oh, what a nerd. It's like, no, maths is cool. It's cool, okay? Flanking and outplays are cool, guys. Shut up.
I'm a League of Legends caster. I basically have to be a nerd for this job, right? But I find like flanking is such a creative way to deal with problems, right? When they have a difficult backline to get on, when they have a front line to get in the way, flanking really changes how the dynamic is played. And that's why I just love the hex gates. They allow additional options, more things to think about. I'm sure every AD carry main listening right now says, honestly, shut up. Flanking is terrible. I hate you.
Well, I will say from playing a lot of Legends of Runeterra, which has elusives, which is the equivalent of stealth in that game, it's the worst thing in the world, and I absolutely hate it.
Yep.
It's just so bad. I just do not enjoy it whatsoever. So I as much as I'm busting your chops, I agree with you. I think it's doing, but we're going to see if it makes any real difference. Those hex gates as we come into the dragon spawning in just under 40 seconds or so. Looks like the side of JDG not really in a position to contest for this. You got 2 items onto your Aphelios collector alongside that Gale Force, and it's going to be difficult for them to really make something work, considering you are now, actually I just looked at there, you are a full item behind, 40 CS behind in terms of the Jhin versus the Aphelios. With the Rift Tile going on bot side, there's not really much counterplay to this. You're just going to have to accept that this tower is going down and you have to give up the dragon.
Yeah, and a ton of gold as well, so feeling pretty painful. All those plates really doing a lot for Gala on this Aphelios. He has gone to the collector this time. No real tanky targets necessitating the earlier Lord Dominic, so we'll be able to absolutely shred through the squishy opponents. Probably he's plenty fishing for something here, but I'm not sure how realistic it is. Is the flash available on Xiaohu, so I think he will just back away.
Didn't actually notice it, but there was no package available for Corki's play. It doesn't matter because RNG had a... Yeah, they didn't need it, but, you know.
And now they can line up the next package for the next dragon.
We shall see. We'll see if they do end up lining that one up. I'm going to keep an eye on them. But it's now a 3,000 gold lead, 3.5 even, for the side of RNG. They're just soaking in those lanes. Xiaohu's had just an incredibly quiet game now, and it looks like he's just happy farming up, because I think he realizes that with the mana mean they finish up, he's actually going for the Luden's Tempest as well. He just realizes he's just going to be poked. He's just going to be pure damage. He doesn't need to be as aggressive as he made him wanted to be in Game 2 and Game 1 with the Twisted Fate.
Well, I think both Soren has been relatively quiet, but yeah, especially Xiaohu who's just going to be chilling and farming up and scaling. And that's fine. That's the win comp for you, right? That's the thing, is RNG picked a less active composition, but they've managed to make activity happen, but they have such good scaling to rely on, you know, and Jhin is going for the tanky build. He's going to be picking up the Fimbulwint as well, which actually synergizes really well with Gragas, because there's 2 major issues. Well, not really 2 major issues, but the one positive is you can proc it easily, right? Because it procs on slows when you're a melee champion. You get that extra shield, makes you very tanky. The other issue is normally tank Gragas has mana problems, right? If you go on AP, you can build like an AP item. If you go on tank, then you have mana problems, which in the jungle isn't an issue because junglers get massive mana regen when they're in the jungle. But with tank Gragas, you don't really have that luxury. So the Fimbulwint that gives you such a massive mana pool, it really makes them a lot stronger. And now
the Hex Gates, they're trying to see if they can make it work. Not quite able to catch out 3 seconds. The Hexen! The Hexen! They're looking for it. They thought about it. But yeah, we get to see the Hex Gates work. That's exactly the kind of play that you were talking about earlier. But yeah, going back to your Gragas point, being able to pick up the Fimbulwinter is... is it Fimble or Thimble?
Thimble, I think. I think it's Thim. It's not like...
Thimble.
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, we should probably just look it up. But, well... As you're going to see a good disengage. Great explosive pass to keep Way alive. But they got him anyway with the cannon barrage. And they're able to pick him up. They actually use every single ultimate there, except for the Lee Sin kick. So that's the only one left available to them. They do get their man, but they lost quite a lot of... never mind. So I was going to say they lost quite a lot of re-engage possibilities. But with Gala missing out on his ultimate with the Gravitum set up, he's not going to be able to lock them down.
Yeah, it's a good move though. You managed to pick up the kill. You managed to get a Waze flash as well, which will be down for the next dragon. So definitely a positive there. You also get that power in the bot lane. Good moves from JDG. They're still down. They keep them relevant. I am concerned though. We talked about the item differential between AD carries that is still present, but there's also a level differential. 2-level lead for Gala. There's a 1-level lead in the mid lane as well. And you just got to think of levels as essentially free staff, free gold, free everything. It's a lot of power involved in those, and particularly when there's a big level difference between AD carries, it can be really, really concerning.
That's the big thing. I think the fact that Gala is just having a bit of a free time right now to just push up. And LPC's here by himself. Like, honestly, I don't know if LPC can really walk up to this. He has no mana. He needs the rest of his team here. He needs to keep himself safe. Otherwise, he was just going to die. So,
and that's the problem. You're sharing XP with Kanavi and Missing when they both have to come in defend.
Kind of a catch-22. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. You either die because you have no one with you because you're trying to solo farm, or you don't die because everyone's stealing away all your farm. But this was just everything in the kitchen sink trying to be, you know, take out Way, and he almost got away with it, but Cannon Barrage just enough to keep him down and get the Ignite to tick down past him.
Yeah, so nice play. I like setting up these picks when you are behind. Positive C from JDG. They know that they were struggling a little bit, and in the straight-up fight, it is hard, right? There's a lot of poke potential from Xiaohu. There's a lot of sustained damage from Gala, and Way, when he starts getting resets, will be a problem. So taking these opportunities to burn some of their spells and to sort of get a little bit of gold back in is definitely what you want to be looking for. Now, it's a minute until that dragon would be the third for RNG. Xiaohu, man after my own heart. He knows how to do it. It's simple, but it makes me happy. He's got the package ready and available, so he will have that for this. It's going to make it a hard fight for JDG, but they can't really afford to give it up. Third one for RNG would be a problem, and he is now flying in.
Yeah, take it from me, guys. A little bit of advice. It's the little things in the relationship that make it work. And Missing, though, in a lot of trouble here. They're going to use the explosive cast, and he's just getting bounced around the bounce house, but he's so tanky. He keeps himself alive. Way, however, will need to reset because he is basically one breath away from dying. Finn off to the side, maybe looking for something. Missing takes a turret to the face, and that's going to mean he's making a lot of damage. He has it reset. Flash away. That's not going to be available for 369 now. This is actually a little bit better for RNG as they got the reset, and they have the Hex Gate. He's base skating. He's Hex skating back into the fight, and that's the big thing right now, is that when the side of Leona hasn't gone back, just gone there, isn't available for this fight just yet, and you have your jungler available. Now, can you get the poke down? Dragon has been aggroed, and they will start that one up. There's the package to try and just delay everyone off a little bit. Xiaohu, though, is on the wrong side of this fight. The rest of his team wasn't really with it, but there's another Hex Gate, and Missing goes straight in. He's going to try and see if he can keep himself alive again. No, this time he goes down. They will get the Moonlight Vigil off as well, and there's two for Gala. They almost get on top of Yagao, but it ends up being the dragon. That is the sole point here for the side of RNG. JDG almost lose their mid laner, but they might lose the Baron instead.
Yeah, they're just going to head straight over there, and there's the... Oh, never mind. LPC finds a kill. Can he survive? Looks like he can. Is able to walk it off. Gets the fourth shot on Xiaohu, and honestly, that might be enough. That single kill might be enough to suddenly make RNG question it, and they are. They are not going to go for the Baron. So hero play from the Jhin there. Teamfight around Baron was a little bit tenuous. As you said, the resets coming in for Way was really instrumental. And I think it's just the difficulty of approaching this Aphelios, right? You have to get onto him. You have to try and deal with the backline problem. So it's kind of like you can't just sit back and let Corki poke you for free. Gala has the Calibrum, which means he has extremely extended range when he wants it, so the range issue is less prevalent. And he connects there. Look at the damage that comes in when he gets the shot in.
My God,
he's so fed.
The white gun is so stupid, man. Like, that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be allowed.
I find it funny. It's like, what are the broken Aphelios guns? Gun combos. Well, if you have... You get the white gun and the green gun. You get the white gun and the red gun.
And the red gun. Right, white gun and the blue gun. It's pretty decent. Like, it's just, oh, okay.
There's a recurring theme here. Yeah. You say white goes with anything, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely looking fashionable, but that important kill, like you mentioned, by LPC, was able to flash in, Gale Force in, was able to take out the Corki. Not having Xiaohu meant that the damage you would be doing to the Baron would not maybe be enough. But after all is said and done, you are still a 3.5 item Aphelios. You still have Soul Point available for you now. Soul in 3 minutes 20 seconds. this is looking like it's going to be RNG's game, and I think this is where JDG need to try and figure out what they want to go for here, because right now it's RNG pressuring, priming themselves to say, look, we are stronger and we know it.
Yeah, and I think Gala might have heard me, because I said he was not had the best performance so far this play. He is looking on point this game. And in fairness, they did prop him up, they did give him the gold to be successful, but he is making good use of it. Really looks at home on this Aphelios. And the thing is, you gotta think about the Hex Tech individual dragons. Each one is giving you 6% attack speed and 6 ability haste, I believe, which is really nice for these AD champions, right? Because the attack speed, obviously, stellar on Gala. The ability haste also useful. It's not exactly amazing on him, but the fact that you're getting 2 stats instead of 1 is great.
Sorry, just as you finish your point, I took a massive gulp of water, and I was like, oh god, he's just finished. Yeah, I took a swig before we came back into it. But speaking of going back into it, it's not a million miles away for JDG. They still have some pretty damn decent scalings. 369 going for the full lethality build. Well, I say full lethality, pretty nearly full lethality build. It's got the Triforce, and of course the Yomus with the Serpent's Fangs, so the shielding from the Nautilus and the shielding from the Sterex gauge of the Viego not going to be as good as we go later on into this game. Even things like the Locket as well. So giving a look down all the items, you got the Void Staff second here alongside the Crown of the Shattered Queen for Yagao. So he's looking to try and burn someone down. G69 will get knocked off, but Ming is dead. Ming cannot survive that as the Venn diagram of death, as I like to call it, with the you've got the Leona ult, you've got the Chaos Storm, you have the Cannon Barrage. There's just so much for you to be able to do. They try and get the explosive cast to maybe catch somebody out, maybe get them the kill, but not going to happen. The one thing positive, though, for RNG is that there's no real objective for the side of JDG to take it. I don't think they're going to go for Baron.
And they didn't really burn anything, right? Ming didn't have a splash anyway. No one else burned any summoners. In fact, JDG didn't burn theirs either, so it's still favored for JDG, but this fight is relatively inconsequential. Ming's going to be back up in time, not just for the dragon, but also to get back on the map and start laying down vision for the Baron as well. Now, Gala has just picked up a Runans. 4 item Aphelios. Yeah. Quite early to have 4 items, I would say.
Pre 30 minutes is a lot. That is a lot of 200 years right there.
And it's not like I mean, some of them are cheaper, but it's not like they're cheap items, right? It's not like you're going to discount bargain route. It's not like you bought support items. You've got the Infinity Edge.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a primary target. We'll have his flash available for this next fight in 40 seconds. Cleanse is there as well for him. We should have the flash from Xiaohu as we can see the TP coming in mid. That's going to be 369 joining his team. If
they're precise timers, they could maybe fish for an engage before the flash is up. They don't have much room, but you can see actually RNG are aware of this. Gala's not leaving the tower until it's back available. They're like, we ain't interested now. The package synced up and available. Burst damage coming out, bit of poke back and forth.
Oh no, JDG are a little bit scattered right now. Solar Flare comes out, they pop in the gravity field to try and maybe just keep everyone away from this dragon, but the mid lane's being pushed in. You have a full wave now for RNG, so they have priority over the mid. The Chaos Storm is dead, so that's a lot of your AoE is gone. Another fantastic hook into the Moonlight Vigil. Gala picks up one, and now it's a 4v5, but look where the Gangplank is. 369, where have you gone? Where are you going? There's just no way you can help your team with this fight. They see Gala, he doesn't even want the pentakill right now. He wants the dragons. He will get the dragons. Ming will fall to the curtain call. And after all is said and done, it's a flash forward. LPC Deja Vu. I have been to this place before. Flashes in. Gale Forces gets the final auto and kills Xiaohu.
But it's still not enough, right? You kill Xiaohu, great, but they still have the Hex Tech Soul. And man, it's so frustrating to play against that, against the poke Corki, right? Every single rocket on a pretty short cooldown will get that extra slow and that extra true damage on it. It's really painful to go up against. We see this time my fan Bane, but then is just able to dash away, but it doesn't matter, right? Baron is going down, they're not there in time, does get secured, and RNG get everything they want.
Everything, the Hex Tech Soul, the Baron buff, and I love that from Gala as well. Like, you saw him straight away. Watch in this replay. He gets the 2 kills, which is still fantastic on its own, and then he doesn't go hunting. A lot of players go, see red in the water, see blood in their eyes, and it just kind of goes dark for a second. But he turns around and gets himself onto the objective because he knew that's why they were there.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of power off these big scaling tanks in the late game, right? This Gragas is able to soak so much damage, go forwards, and Lee Sin and Leona just can't really hold up. They get shredded. Gala does flash to avoid the potential kick, but he sees the cannon barrage. He's not going to walk through it. He's not going to risk it. He knows, right, Gangplank, Jhin, and Viktor, you don't really want to play games with that, so they just take the dragon. Job's done. We do see a little bit of greediness from Xiaohu, but, you know, him going down isn't really too much of an issue. Now what we get to see is Hextech Soul with the Corki. The rockets are going to slow. The rocket's going to do even more damage. Now he's looking for flank. He's been spotted.
They see him. They know exactly what he's trying to do. They see exactly where he's trying to go. He has nowhere to go. He's going to use his safeguard over the wall and his flash. He does keep himself alive, but that's now your flash kick no longer available. It's just got to be a godlike play.
The rocks are hitting. Every moment you aren't finally engaged is moments where people are getting poked down, and Xiaohu is doing a lot of damage.
He is, and he's been so muted in this game. 0-2, but he's still a 3-item Corki. Like, this is why I think RNG are going to be such a threat once they're able to get their, you know, team on all on the same page. Because you look at the players they have in each role. Bin can carry, Xiaohu can carry, Wei can carry. We know Gala can carry, and Ming's been carrying this organization for years. So on paper, if this team can get it all sorted, they can carry from every role. They don't need your Xiaohu to play fantastic. My God, Corki, stop! Just stop! Like, Ryan, how did you allow this to be a thing?
He has the perfect spike, right? He's got the double pen items and the Shadow Flame and the Loons. He has the Manamine, he has the Soul Shoes. He is just doing so much damage. Looking for the engage.
Looking for it, but Kanavi's dead. So is Leona. That's your front line pretty much done and dusted. You got your carries left, and you still have a pretty decent amount of wave clear. They're going to land the hook, though, and LPC is deleted. Taken from existence on this map, and now Xiaohu's going to try and see if he can get any more scragglers. There's just been hook after hook after hook, and there's nothing you can do as they blow your house down. RNG pick up their first series win of the split so far.
And that game 3 was definitely the way to do it. Very convincing, very clean throughout. They adapted. They obviously lost with the Twisted Fate, up to the ban and away, went for a lot more scaling elements, but they still performed well in the early game, right? They still had the early game strength we saw from them in game 1 and most of game 2.